Why is it that people gloss over the fundamentals of music? It doesn't matter if it's jazz or any type of music. Skipping over foundational things will not get you very far. Since this is a jazz-centric channel, let's help you lay the foundation for you to play way better moving forward once and for all. You may want to sound like this. But maybe this resembles closer to what you play. Aside from the kind of boring note choices that I played, it's not exciting rhythmically. Rhythm is, I might argue, maybe the biggest foundational thing, the biggest part of the language to learn about the music. If you have problems of knowing what to play or how to play it, or trouble with phrasing, not sounding like jazz, knowing rhythm will invariably fix at least 50% of any problems that you have playing jazz. The basic grid might be swung eighths, but if you always play to the grid, it's going to sound cumbersome. And quite frankly, it's boring. There's no friction. What you want to do is hear the swing eighth note pulse and create some friction. By creating a little rhythmic rub, you'll sound way more interesting. It stems from the roots of African music. You're hearing two separate things working together, causing that interesting friction. Here's a more interesting rhythm to start us off. Something a little closer to what Charlie Parker might have played. The moral of the story is to copy rhythms, internalize them, sing them, clap them, and then play them. And we'll put some pitches to those rhythms in that last example. The pickup note right here is an important part of the jazz language. The same with the eighth note triplets here and here. 16th notes are great because they cause that friction we talked about earlier. Straight 16ths against the swung eighth notes is a nice rub. And these two eighth notes here that end the phrase, it's an important part of the bebop language. Matter of fact, it's where bebop gets its name. The shape of the line and the leaps are an important part of the language too. In the PDF that accompanies this video, I'll get you starting to see these rhythmic phrases first, then get you to put notes to those rhythms or pitches in much greater detail, along with several examples to work through. It'll be like a workbook. You can print it out and write out ideas. I'll show you some rhythms and how to put them into context within a song. Which leads me to my next point. Learn songs. Jazz is about knowing songs and expressing yourself over a set form, the song itself. And I've just added a cool new perk over on my Patreon page. Starting at the gold level membership, you get access to Learn a Song Every Month lesson. Go check it out when the video is finished. Of course, the link is below. If you don't know any songs, how are you going to express yourself in a jazz context? Jazz may be one of the greatest living democracies humans have ever devised. When done correctly, each person has a turn to say something, to shine, while everyone else is there to support what you do, to encourage you, to egg you on, to tease the best out of you, musically speaking. That's why I love jazz so much. Some have the misconception that everything is improvised. Not true. You improvise over the structure of the song. Without structure, you have chaos. When it comes to expressing yourself, it's going to take some time to develop your own flair.
We need to talk about your flair. You do want to express yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's all I ask.
Playing through chord changes is equal parts science as much art. You need to start knowing the notes that make up each chord. Ultimately, any chord, really. First start with the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. That's the science. Being creative with it, that's the art. The best exercise I know to cure this ailment is playing chord tones through an actual song. The beauty of it is you're learning the chords of the song, what the chord tones are, mapping out the chords in a way that you'll memorize the chords quicker, and you're learning how to hear the key resolution points. And in 4/4, that's beats 1 and 3. And I'll leave links to more videos that delve into this on a deeper level. Here is the first 16 measures of It Could Happen to You. The goal is to play the chord tones off the top of your head, not memorize one way to do it. You want to make up the lines as you go along. Doesn't matter what note you start with, you always gravitate to the nearest note, no matter what the chord change is. But grab the nearest chord tone of whatever chord you're on at that moment. That's why you'll want to watch this video. If you have to start with all roots, or all thirds, or all fifths, or all sevenths, do that. Here's a taste of what I mean. Of course, you'll want to do this throughout the whole song. Doing alternating thirds and sevenths is a really good thing to do. Thirds and sevenths are the essential tones of all chords and are often referred to as guide tones. I'll include the chord changes for the whole song in the PDF so you can work through the whole thing. As far as I'm concerned, it goes without saying that you need to know your fretboard. You have to know where the notes are everywhere. Fortunately, I've created a great video that covers that topic in a very thorough manner. Make sure you get the accompanying PDF workbook. Links will be in the description section below. Music, and especially jazz and blues-based music, is a language. We don't learn a language typically very well by reading. We listen first. Listen and listen intently. Listen to the dialogue that the musicians are having with each other on recordings, or even better, when playing live. Tap your foot, clap your hands, sing along to whatever you can. Come on, there's no need to be bashful in the privacy of your own home. Mimic the sounds that you hear. In order to play jazz, you need to know what it sounds like first. So listen and imitate. Besides subscribing, especially if you're new around these parts, then hitting that like button really truly gets YouTube's algorithm to push it out. And if you want to support what I do even further, consider becoming a member over on my Patreon. You get access to lessons not available to the public. You also get all my PDF lessons that accompany each video for free. And the thing that I find the most fun is hanging out with you online once a month. You can discover all that over at Patreon. If a monthly membership isn't something that you're looking for, but you feel you want to support me in some way, consider buying a t-shirt, a hat, a mug, or something at my store. Heck, there's even a tip jar below if you want to just make a one-time donation to the channel. Now, before I let you go, I've compiled some killer videos over here that I know you're gonna love.